When people use the expression, he's flying, 99% of the time, that is all it is, an expression. But are we sure Anthony Edwards isn't actually flying through the air? Because how else am I supposed to explain things like this?
Pacers have a chance. Up ahead, Neesmith. Blocked! Edwards getting up! And good night!
Just watch this play back. I think he might have flown out of the arena if he didn't hit his head on top of the backboard. Because when he blocked that shot, he wasn't on the way down. And in a league full of freakish athletes, Anthony Edwards is about as freaky as it gets. 23 years old. He is now a gold medalist and was a key contributor on the team, finishing 4th in points per game, only behind the 3 greatest players of their generation. And when you look at the other players on Team USA, Ant wasn't supposed to be this good already, considering the likes of Devin Booker, Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis, Bam Adebayo are all 27 and older, whilst Ant only turned 23 just a week ago. But I don't think any of us were surprised to see him deliver on the biggest stage, because it was only a couple of months ago when he led the Timberwolves to the Western Conference Finals on the back of numerous elite performances against the Phoenix Suns and the Denver Nuggets, averaging 29 and 6 a game on great efficiency during the first rounds of the playoffs, and putting both of those teams to the sword. Just look at him on this play where he has the ball out top. He gives it up to Conley, gets it back, and look at him split the double on the Gobert screen before the Euro step around Booker, and it's the ability to hang and finish that's even more impressive than the split or the Euro. Or how about this move against D-Book, which might have been the filthiest move of the entire postseason. He initially drives left into the chest of Book, the pivot inside before the step through and floater. In just that first game against Phoenix, Ant made so many ridiculous shots that would be worthy of an entire video alone, but he continued to hit crazy shots all throughout the series against Phoenix and then against Denver, leading the Timberwolves to their first Western Conference Finals appearance since 2003, a Wolves team that had a player with similarly freakish talent and a competitive edge to go with it. And that right there might be the best part about Anthony Edwards. He's got the skill, he's got the athleticism, he's got the personality, but most importantly, he's got that competitive edge. The kind of competitive edge where he thinks he can beat any Olympian in any given sport.
I got some people talking about they gonna beat me in ping pong 21-0. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I'm not having it.
Okay, obviously that's not entirely relevant, but at the same time, it kind of is, because that's just who Anthony Edwards is. No matter the situation, no matter the opponent, he enters every single game thinking he's the best player on the floor and thinking his team will win.
Yeah, I told him, I said, I'll see y'all motherfuckers for Game 7.
And this kind of mentality has been very welcome for a franchise that have been mediocre at best for the last 2 decades. And there's no need to be offended as a fan when I say the Wolves were mediocre. It's not your fault, but it is the reality. What matters, however, is they aren't mediocre anymore, and you contribute as much of that to Ant's play as his personality. Well, that's not entirely true, because the only reason he's able to be such a great leader for this team is because everyone on the team knows they have a superstar to help them win games, and superstars are the kind of players who always show up when it matters, which I already mentioned, but Ant didn't just gain this reputation overnight. We've now seen him in the playoffs on 3 different occasions, and every single year he's been in the playoffs, his numbers have been better in the postseason than they were in the regular season. The exact kind of jump you want from your best player. And you could argue some of that is shooting variance, but he has the kind of game that holds up in the playoffs, with his combination of size, strength, athleticism, and 3-level scoring to pair with it. Not to mention last season, we saw the improvements he's made as a playmaker. Don't get me wrong, he's not elite yet, but when Denver and Dallas started to sell out on other Wolves players to avoid Ant beating them, he showed off some improvements as a passer, like on this play where he uses the Anderson screen to get downhill, forcing Lively to step up, and I'm not sure why PJ Washington helps over, but that's what good players make you do, and Ant recognizes that, so he kicks it out